the advancement in the finance and IT world, yeah, it requires us to make the right choices in the products, yeah, financial products and services available in the market. However, we can't know about those financial services and products on the market if we have no knowledge about them, right? Thus, that makes it mandatory for us to acquire financial literacy. So join me today as we discuss the definition and the benefits of financial literacy as we thrive on our path to self-sufficiency or financial independence and sustainability. All right? I'm your host, Namutebi Shamirah, and the distinguished speaker of the day is a passionate financial literacy coach who has interacted with and influenced multiple people for over 10 years. Yeah? She has encouraged, motivated, and guided individuals and companies on saving and investment. She has proudly trained the young generation to have holistic passion about financial independence. She's currently the managing director of Saith Pro Uganda Limited, an auditing account, an internal audit, account, and tax services. She serves on different boards, a case in a point, a commercial bank, insurance service, and the Institute of Internal Auditors. She is a chartered accountant, FCCA. She's a public accountant, CPA, a certified internal auditor, CIA, an accredited trainer of internal audit, and also holds an MBA from the Heritage University, Scotland. She is a mother of 3 handsome sons and 1 beautiful girl, all aspiring to be financially independent. Sisters, let's all rise up and we put our hands together for our guest of the day. Please let's rise up. Our distinguished sister of the day is FATUMAH SSENTONGO Nagawa. Thank you so much for keeping time. Thank you so much for accepting to be here with us today. Can you say salam to our sisters?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm very glad to be here. I didn't hear what she talked about me, but the one thing I would like to emphasize is the fact that I'm a passionate personal financial management coach. I do it with passion. I love to see the younger people move up. So I really look forward to discussing today, inshallah. Thank you, Shamirah.
Yes, sisters. In the interest of time, let's begin straight away. But before we go into the deep discussion of the topic of the day, twagala tutandike nga tutegedde, like all of us here tutegedde what exactly we are talking about. Tuze tuwulira financial literacy. In her CV, tumuwulidde she's a coach of financial literacy for over 10 years. Sister FATUMAH, can you tell us the meaning of financial literacy, please?
Thank you, Shamirah. Financial literacy is basically having skills, knowledge on how to use money. As simple as that. How do I work around my money? When I get money, how do I use it? Yeah? Do I just spend it? Do I save it? Do I budget for it? How do I use my money? So financial literacy basically is okuyiga okutetenkanya sente zo. Many people get a lot of money. Many of us, we get a lot of money and then we end up not doing anything with the money. the main reason it is why we are here today. We need to understand that monster called money. Why is it that at the end of the day, someone earning 10 million cannot put up a hut, and one earning 50,000 can? So financial literacy is basically being able to understand how money works. So the knowledge and the skills that we are going to acquire here, but also to acquire later, because it does not stop here. Thank you, Shamirah.
You are welcome. You've mentioned something very important. Agambye, it's not about amassing wealth. And I can see that in many professionals. You can see a lawyer who makes a lot of money, an accountant, architecture. Nenga sente totura bayizidi. Taina nyumba, taina motoka, over sometimes they have a car, but they have nothing to show. It means that their financial or our financial literacy is lacking. Did I get you right?
Yes, please.
Now, what are those essential steps can someone take to integrate financial literacy into her day-to-day life?
Before I go into the steps, I would like to just share something personal.
Go on, please.
Many years, about a decade ago, I was working in Finca, and I was earning about 130,000 per month, not per day, per
You're
month.
working at Finca?
Finca, Uganda.
Finca,
Yeah.
Uganda Bank?
And
what is Finca?
Finca Uganda is a bank. For those of you who know it, it was a microfinance then. But 130,000 then is an equivalent of about 280 today. Now, I took the job with everyone being against me, but of course I had an objective as a person. The objective was to go and learn. I didn't have an idea of how a workplace, but the 130,000 shillings is something that disturbed all my siblings. How can you go for 130? But the day I went to Masaka, there was a friend of mine who housed me for about 2 days. I told her I am going to be saving 10,000 shillings every day. She asked me, how? I told her I have set a target from today to start to save. And in 10 years, I am going to have a rental.
10,000 shillings every day or every month?
Every month.
All right.
Now, to answer your question, financial literacy, the steps that we take as individuals, it starts with setting a goal. Setting a financial goal that is aligned to you as a person. It's one thing to set a goal, because Shamirah has a car, I will also drive a Benz. Shamirah has a Benz, I will also drive a Benz. Fatuma, you has a boda boda, I'm also going to buy a boda boda. It doesn't work that way. We set goals, we set financial goals that are aligned to us as people, as individuals. So the example I've just spoken to is where I'm saying that I'm earning 130. I cannot save 500. I can't save 100. I need to, and I tell myself I'm going to save 10,000 shillings. Okay, so I set that goal. The second thing I did was to decide to save. So when you decide to save, many of us we speak about these things, and they seem to be very straightforward. The moment we come out of here, everyone will be like, I'm going to be saving. But it starts with you as a person. It starts from within, inside, where you say, I'm not going to buy a veil, and I'm going to save. You have to be deliberate about it. The third one is investment. So of course, after you have saved, there are reasons why you've set goals, you have decided to save, and you have a goal, either to invest or to buy something, or So the other pillar that I would be speaking to maybe later, as we talk about financial freedom, is the bit of investment. Lastly, budgeting. Ladies, my sisters, budgeting is not for accountants. Budgeting is basically how much income do I have and how much expenses do I have in the month. Write down and live within, or actually below, not within, below the income.
At that very point, if my expenses do not match my income, what do I do? How do I revise my budget?
One of the key concepts or pillars of financial literacy or financial freedom, as we shall be speaking this evening, is the fact that a budget is not a cast in stone. There are so many aspects that change on a daily, on a monthly, on a weekly. There are so many issues in the country, in Uganda here, outside Uganda, what we would call the macro issues. Yeah, there are those things that are within you. You have a job today, tomorrow you don't have a job. You are doing well in business. Those days when I was kuilibaring, time for Eid, hijab, hot cake. So at that time you will make a kill. After that, you will not make a kill. So the budget needs to be reviewed
dynamic
and adjusted as and when.
Okay, what if my expenses like are constant? Because we have those permanent expenses like rent, school fees, transport, meals. What do I have to do with my budget if it doesn't match my income?
Now, it is very, very important that we live within our means. You'll find that if you are, for example, earning 100,000 shillings and you're renting a house of 300,000, from the word go, you have failed. If you are earning 100,000 shillings, look for a house of 30,000 shillings because that is where you are supposed to be. And later, as you graduate in terms of incomes, definitely you can move to the bigger house that you're looking at.
All right. Okay, thank you so much for that insight. There's something I read in your profile in regard to your children's aspiration to become financially independent at that age. Like, at what age are we should we inspire our children, to embark on this journey of financial literacy? Is there a specific age? Is there a specific level? Because it's one thing that is not taught in schools. So can you share with us what you call out here?
Thank you, Shamirah. We are all aspiring to be financially free, all of us. But we need to start as ladies. One of the things I normally tell my friends is the ladies are the future of tomorrow. And for us to understand money, it is very critical. When you understand money, when you understand savings, investments, you need to pass on that knowledge to the children from the time they are little. Shamirah,
the question is how?
When I'm going to share my personal story and we see if we can, when I got my firstborn about 10 years ago, I got money in hospital. Of course, I'm saving. I will speak about the saving. From think I've moved to another place. Now the saving has increased. And I know this money is actually for the baby, not for me. So what I do as a person, the first thing I do after I'm out of maternity leave is to open an account using the money for that child. Okay? When I open that account, I start to encourage the baby. I buy a piggy bank for baby. A baby. I'm not talking about a 2-year-old, a baby.
A baby, newborn.
Baby, newborn. So that is about 6, because the account would be opened about 6 months. And the piggy bank is bought then. Now, at 6 months, the baby is actually crawling, is saying baba, those funny things. So when it's time to do the pig bank saving, I do very little money by the way on a monthly basis. Sometimes it's 2,000, sometimes it's 5,000, sometimes it's a coin when you're like broke. and say piggy bank, everyone piggy bank, including the baby. Yeah, so all of them have to bring the piggy banks near the baby. And of course would be cheer, put. Now, what are we doing? What we are doing, we are telling the baby that it is. I have a 2-year-old who will pick my wallet now and come and say, Mommy, piggy bar, piggy bar. Now, because it was initiated from the word go. Now, some of these things, we actually take them for granted. But what we do with the children at home is what they will pick. What my mother did with me. No one taught me how to manage money.
It's what you're passing on to your children.
It is what I'm passing on to my children. Okay. And the last thing that I do is at the end of the year, it is time to break the banks.
Excitement.
So if you went and pulled money by mistake, or not mistake, pulled out money or anything, you're going to be below the others, because the expectation is it should be justified why we are where you are. The 10-year-old washes cars, and he would want to wash a car to get 1,000 or 2,000 to add in the piggy bank. So when we count the money, we write it down. I am accountable. I actually have records of what each and everyone has. So we walk to the bank. We go to the bank, because I earlier mentioned that I opened accounts for them. So we walk to the bank. Some have 30,000. It's really little money, but it is that for the full year for someone to have 30,000. It is really, they are trying as children. So you walk to the bank. For those who can write, they write, and now the signature is very exciting. Oh, I'm signing. Now, when we start the year, they are still excited to do it again, because they know at the end of the year, we are going to go and bank. But of course, they keep saying, Mommy, we hope our money is safe. But so that is what I do, and I encourage everyone. So these children, especially the girl, she even wanted to be here today, really says she's going to be financially independent. She does not want to beg. She wants money to work for her. She's into jewelry, beads. She does beads. She does beads.
Those beading and craft
jewelry, kinda. So when she gets 1,000, she's like, Mommy, I've got an additional for the piggy bank. Or she will say, I have 2,000. Can I have 1,000?
Mashallah.
I eat it, but then the piggy also wants, because the initiation from the word go, we have introduced that.
All right.
Thank you, Shamirah.
Thank you so much, Sister Fatuma. Actually, from that very point, there's a question it poses into my mind, and I guess even to the sisters in the audience and those viewing us. We've been talking about financial literacy and financial independence or freedom. Is there a distinction between those two aspects, or are they similar?
Financial literacy, as I earlier mentioned, is knowledge. It is skills, really how to work around money. While financial freedom is everyone's aspiration, me and everyone.
It is
buli muntu ayagala abeere financially free. Financial freedom is really financial well-being, financial security, financial independence. It is where you have money work for you, as opposed to having money, as opposed to you working for money. So financial freedom, there are very many ways to become financially free, but it needs patience. We need to be intentional about it. That the dreams that we have as individuals, as ladies, they can lead us to be financially free in the next. Some of us will become financially free after 5 years, others after 20 years, but either way, it requires a lot of patience.
All right. Let's have a 1-minute break, just to have a breather. We'll be right back. Before we broke off, our sister shared a very amazing insight about inspiring kids. Okubanga ba saving. Mothers, we shouldn't take this for granted. Let's teach our kids. Omanyi bulosomesa omwana ekintu naye mwennyini oyanguzibwa. Agambye yakozesa piggy banks. You might not have the piggy bank, muso okufuna akakeba waka notekamu sente oba aka box. The thing is that oyagala kuteka mwana culture ya kusavinga. And Sister Fatuma, before she had a training with us, she shared a lot of experiences she's going through, and also family members and the few people she has inspired. Neighbor bizinyo when you go practical. Dala kuchaba and then china namgamba, I'll ask it from her. I'll ask it from her so that we share it as sisters. So welcome back from the short break. Let's continue from there. She had just given us the definition or the distinction between financial literacy and financial independence. Yeah? So let's continue from that point. Sister Fatuma, tuchakwetaga tuongere financial independence kuba abasinga ekyabalese wababuuziza mukalango, who wouldn't love to be financially independent? Buli omu n'agamba nina okubaawo. Sorry, it's not yet a Q&A session. I can see someone putting up a hand. Yeah? No, subhanallah, just a few minutes, you're almost there, okay? Okay, Sister Fatuma, please share. We want to become financially independent. Tuchikola tutya. The sisters, you've talked about investment. Yes, some sisters have tried to follow financial independence, get money, save, invest. Our investment obuzibu ebifira omuntu akunganyiza akasente ke akoze sacrifices akatadde in business a good day. So sisters are inquiring from an expert nkoze ntya okusustaininga my investment tubirekawo tuwe ku bukodyo.
Sigenda kubbako. Ngenda byogera.
Tuyanziza. Mashallah, continue.
Ekisooka ekintu ekisinga obukulu mu financial freedom, financial independence, financial security, kye nayogeddeko earlier, the description gye nawadde. It is to understand what your goals are. Nga tetonnagenda mu investment kuteeka sente gy'otamanyi gy'ozitadde. What are your goals as a person?
The goals in my investment or as
what
a person in my life? Personal goals or investment goals?
Personal goals.
All right.
Now the personal goals will encompass so many things. Oyinza okubeera ne saving goal, osobola okubeera ne investment goal, osobola okubeera ne goals nyingi. Osobola okugamba ngenda ku umrah, osobola okugamba all those. So I'm talking about life, your personal goals as a person, nga gwe, ng'omuntu. So wetuba twagala kubeera financially independent, tulina okumanya wa gye twagala okugenda. Where do we want to be in the next 5, 10, 20 years? And when we are setting goals, they have to be smart goals. To setting a goal gy'otasobola ku achieving, it is very frustrating. Okeera n'ogamba nti ngenda kusavinga $5,000,000 ng'ofuna $20,000 buli mwezi. You will be frustrated, you will be angry, ojaga tebikola. Bino ebya financial literacy tebikola.
Sister Fatuma, soko okadde mwangu. Omusiraamu takayiseta wakul. Kubana obuki ne faith nti nja kikola.
Kirungi nnyo okubeera ne faith. It's very, very important. In fact, when you are on your way to being financially free, you have to have faith. You have to be intentional. You have to be deliberate. But it has to be realistic.
Exactly. It has to be realistic.
Tosobola keera nga otu obeera waka. You get Kameza money. By the way, guys, even if you are getting Kameza money, this session is very important. You can be, for those people who are not working, you can actually be financially free. The difference might be, I might get free in 5 years, but the important bit is to start. Back to the financial freedom. So when you set your goals, this will be a short term, medium term, and long term. Now, many times everyone speaks about short term, long term, medium term. naye gwe olina okutegeera gwe ki ky'oyita short term. Personally as Fatuma, every month in my I plan every year, actually every 5 years, and then breaking into every year. Why?
Sister Fatuma, so is 5 years a short term or a long term?
5 years is the beginning of the long term, in line with my personal objectives.
So how long should be my short term goal?
Now, short term would be within a year.
A year.
Yeah.
All right.
Then medium term would be a year to about 3 to 5 years. Like I mentioned, it really depends on the person.
Okay.
But in the description, in the dictionary, it would be less than a year for short, then 1 year to 3 years for medium, and then 3 years to about 5 long term.
Okay.
Yeah. So when we set these goals, they have to be aligned to you as a person. So what I was sharing earlier is I set goals. I just want to share. When I just said to work about 2 years into employment, I tell myself I'm studying at night. So I set the goal. When I was, writing my 5-year plan.
Sorry for the interruption.
Yes.
To set goals, yeah, my financial goals, do I have to first get the employment? Do I have to first be employed?
No.
Or even I can start like in a dream.
Shamirah, I talked about being realistic. Waliwo goals oyinza okugamba ngenda kugula emmotoka naye mbutuufu nga toyina mulimu kati oba ogenda kutandikirawo.
It's the hope.
Hope. We need to be, ladies, sisters, we need to be very realistic. On our way to financial freedom, we need to be realistic. But we're setting ebintu ebitali realistic. It brings about okwagala abantu chovola abantu babeera mugundi ne babba. You don't get married njagala musajja mugagga. When you set your goals, the setting in line with within your limits.
Okay.
Yeah. So these goals, like I was sharing earlier, nze setting a goal y'emmotoka. Naye mu butuufu ng'emmotoka simanyi givuga nga siraba nga ndaba nti nsobola nga nyina omulimu. Because that time I'm earning, I think I was earning a net of about 570,000. Yeah.
That is a very good start. It's a very good
from
start.
130.
No, sometimes some of us started as volunteers. So with no salary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I'm earning 500,000, I ask myself, which car can I drive? When you set goals, tokeera n'ogamba nti ku mitwalo 5 nsobola kutereka sente meka, maybe nsobola kutereka mitwalo, okay, 2. Ne sacrificing nga nembeera mu nnyumba ey'emitwalo 5 because I have another goal, that very important goal to help me achieve something else other than the financial goal.
All right.
Yeah. So it is critical. The car I set is, that time I actually got the car. It was a chikumi. I bought it very little money in second hand from someone. It was old, but it fulfilled the other need, the need that I had.
The goal.
So but I did buy it within the set time. But these other short-term goals I do, for example, I do masjid power every month.
Mashallah.
Nebo okolachi. That is my short-term goal. Buli mwezi kirina okubeerawo. Era kye kisooka okuvaako. The other thing, for example, I was telling her earlier, ever since I joined Muslimah, the 20,000 for Muslimah is always budgeted.
Mashallah.
Actually, I came here and I was sharing with her that, of course, as maybe a guest, I'm not supposed to pay. But I saved for it. And it is a good cause. Mashallah. It is for a good cause. So I don't want to divert. Go back to the goals. We set goals. Secondly, we need to budget.
We need to budget.
There is no rich person akeera n'agaggawala bugaggawazi nga tapulaninze expenses ne incomes.
Okay.
Buli woba ng'oplaninga your expenses and incomes kiba kitegeeza you cannot go over. Tosobola keera n'ogamba kati kangende ngule akatambala ka Shamirah nga tete wakaplaninze.
Okay.
Ekintu kino byonna byenjogera ebya financial freedom bitandikira mu mutima wano.
So it starts with being real to yourself.
To be intentional. We have to be deliberate. Ebintu ebisinga tubyagala. Ebirungi bingi. I have a daughter here, simanyi oba yazze. She will send you all the nice hijabs in this world.
And you get tempted.
Waliwo kano kendese, and I normally say, nze ngula mu kisiibo omulundi gumu. And someone will wonder how I actually plan for it.
Katubide sister Gundiza sharing it is Ajmal collections. I'm sure ezo jazija. Sigwe yogerako, she has the best hijabs, Ajmal collections. So back to financial freedom. Other than I want to emphasize again, ekintu kino kiva ku mutima. Ekintu ky'okubeera financially free. Obeera deliberate about it. So the other thing that would lead us to being financially free is definitely to save. Saving. Abamu kuffe tujja kugamba nze sina na sente ze nsobola kusavinga zonna ziggwawo. I've had all those things before. Sente zange zonna we ziggwawo nze mba nakoze budget nga zonna ziggwawo. Naye ekintu ekisooka ku budget yo ebeera saving. Normally they tell us to save on profits. Because tetusoka kujjako mabanja batubanja ne necessities. Okay. Now, when I talk about saving, I am talking to Fatuma, who is not earning salary, but hope to get dividends maybe. I'm talking to a lady who is getting 5,000 shillings at home. Okay.
Nti omwami amulekeddewo nnusu 5,000 labirira ewaka. I am speaking to someone in a business.
All right.
Akola atunda n'akolako amagoba ga 5,000. Yeah? Okay. The decision to reinvest, spend and save, of course it will depend on the business. So when I talk about saving, I want to share a story of a lady who came to me about 8 years ago and said, nze omwami wange andekera nnusu 7 buli lunaku. Aganye okunkolera business. Naye ngenda kubeerawo nti ate kati nzadde. She had a baby and she was pregnant for the second one. I told her that money is enough. Now someone would think byakulimba oba byakusaaga. And she said, tezisobola kumala sente ezo. You know, kati nyina ogulako biki obutungulu biki. Then I asked her, ani akuleetera ebintu kozi? Nanti ntuma owa boda. Then I asked her, lwaki teweegendera mu katale? Now, many times they are the small bits. Expenses. Very small expenses. Ezitulemesa okusavinga. Osanga omuntu ng'agenda ku mulimo ng'alinnya boda buli lunaku ng'agamba nze saagala kuzuukuka. Now, when we are intentional about it, it means you can say, mu kifo kye1,500 can spending 2,000 and I increase on my saving.
All right.
So everyone can save. That lady, by end of year 2, she had 1.7 million. She actually called me.
1.71 million.
And I asked her, how did you get the money? How? What did you do? And she said, obutungulu bwe nali ngula obw'3,000 oba olukumi bwali bumalira ddala. The market was actually near her.
She could walk to the market.
Walk there. And so many things. So when we are intentional about it, right now she's actually, she has a shop. She has a shop in town. But when we plan and we intend and we are deliberate about these things, tewali kitasoboka. tewali kitasoboka. Story yange ya finka gye nabagambye nze nasavinganga $1,000 ne neegamba nti akawunti eyo sirigiggala kubanga nayina target y'okufuna ssente ezizimba rento mu myaka 10. And ladies and gentlemen, I actually did achieve it.
Mashallah.
And someone will think oyina kubeera ne ssente nnyingi. Nedda.
Okay.
Okusevinga kiri mu mutima. Okusevinga gwasalawo n'ogamba mu kifo ky'okutwala zino ssente okola kino. Let me change it. Kantereke ssente zino. And you have to also have the patience. Waliwo abantu abagala naye ze ssente teziwera ntawaanira bwereere. You have to have the patience. So saving has, I want to speak about 2 things in saving. Tusobola okusavinga for a long-term goal. Naye tulina okusavinga for emergencies.
Emergencies.
Many times people bagenda ne bakwata ku saving zaabwe ne bagamba ate kati omuto gwannumye nga nnina okugula painkiller. Eyo saving ebeera ya emergency. Tusavinga emirundi ebiri. I want to repeat. Woba obadde ogenda kusavinga kangeze $1,000. Yeah? Osobola okugamba nti akanaana ka long term. Ngenda kugula emmotoka 2,000 za emergency. Kubanga emergencies teziggwayo mu nsi. So the one mistake that many of us make, akanaana ketutadde eri ate kookwata n'ogamba ate obaka emergency. Kati saving tesobola kukola. You cannot achieve your long term goal gy'obadde oterekera. So when we are saving, we save for different reasons. We save for those emergencies. We save for investment that I'm speaking to next. For us to be financially free, nagambye tubeera ne goal. Abantu abamu basavinga, the lady I have spoken to earlier, yayagala nnyo kubeera ne business. Actually, as I speak, her business should be worth about 15 million now. Naye yatandika very humbly. And so I have been a business person from the time I was very young. Nga mami akuteeka mu dduuka n'agamba bala ssente ezo ozibalancing. And of course, probably it was a training, but as a young girl, S2, you are thinking, so when this lady approached me, I actually said I can apply what I learned from mommy, and I think it has worked well for her, and probably maybe amanye ebirala. So investment is not something that we wake up and say, kangende ngule ettaka. Wengula ettaka eryo nga nkola kino.
Sister Fatuma, just to take you back a bit on saving. Sometimes ojja kuwulira nga tugamba nti kangule akataka saving sente zange. So saving erina kuba financial, or even I can save in kind, in property, in an asset.
Now, wogula akataka okutereka mu ssente zo oba investinze. Kubanga akataka ako ka appreciating with time.
Okay, that's the difference.
So obeera ne goal yo ey'okugula akataka.
Normally, I can get money. Nizo okufuna sente. Let's say like business people, but even professionals like a lawyer, nobeera ne good case, nofuna sente nyingi in a particular case. Ezo sente ezijja nga sina plan zayo nenga akanze jeko nzigulemu akataka. Nga wenoonya ekyo zikolamu.
Nga bw'onoonya ekyo zikolamu oba ogula akataka. Okay,
for emergencies. Twagamba ekigwa kitalaze. Okay, chenjaga clarifying it. We only have to save cash. Or even we can save by purchasing assets to telecom centers affe. Is a emergency. That's why olaba omuntu nga ayina emmotoka n'afuna ekizibu n'agitunda mu kiro kimu ampaamu sente.
Gye twagala obutabeera.
Yes, they spend the money.
Tetwagala kubeera eyo.
Long time ago kati n'azireka mu mmotoka ebirirawo.
Okay, kakati. When you buy land, you are actually investing.
All right.
Land appreciates.
Yes,
Okay?
it adds value.
Saving, you save for a cause.
All right.
You can save. Now, for you as a lawyer, okuba deal yo, n'ogula ettaka. Oba invest in mu ttaka eryo ng'osuubirayo return. Naye w'oba oyagala nga toyagala return. Nga toyagala return. Kiba kitegeeza nti ettaka eryo omuntu ne bw'ajja after 5 years ne liba liri worth million 10. Okkiriza asatu ze waligula.
Era ebisinga ebyo ebyokutundirawo webite ebibeera. So where do you draw a line between saving and investing?
Now,
or saving cash and saving through an asset? Is there any distinction or they're both similar?
Cash, by the way, cash is an asset.
Cash is an asset.
Yes.
Cash is an asset. What is an asset? Ekintu accumulating
ekintu ekireeta positive benefits to you ng'omuntu.
All right.
Yeah. Naye ekintu kyoyogerako ekyettaka bw'obanga ssente ezo oyogedde ekigambo emergency ng'ozisavinga kuddamu kutunda immediately, then it is not wise for you to go around buying land.
Buying land.
Yes.
Because once I have it on the account, nze accessing and nenzijjayo.
Yes.
Kati kyenva nziteeka mu kataka. I know it's not easy. Tekinga like here ATM I'll just go nzijayo sente. Akataka it's a process. Wona afunira omuntu agula akusasula cash. Somehow it's a discipline for me to save as I wait for the real emergency.
I'm going to go back to the bit of emergency. When you get money as a lawyer, deal. Tuziyita deal. Even the accountants will get a deal. N'ofuna ssente ng'omaze emyezi 6 nga tokwata kasente ate ng'ojja nakuwaayo obusente akasente. Ssente ezo bw'oba osuubira nti ogenda kuddamu ozikozese in the near future, short term. Yeah? I would not encourage you to buy land. Process y'ettaka mpanvu. Process y'okutunda mpanvu. But I would encourage you to have another simpler investment. For example, unit trust. For those of you, I hope I'm going to speak about unit trust. Unit trust is a way, insurance companies, nga banka wezigulawo account. Nabo aba insurance bagulawo something they call unit trust. Unit trust here, it gives you small interest, a return, a small return on a daily basis. So kitegeeza naye ssente ezo osobola ozijjayo. Si nga ogenda mu banka ku ATM naye osobola okusaba ozijjayo ne bazikuwa. It might be shorter, it might be more effective, ate nga zireeseeyo n'eka return. So you are saving, you are shooting two things at the same time.
All right.
You are saving at the same time investing.
All right.
So Shamirah, I hope
I just request you to look into that camera and to emphasize to our viewers. You re-emphasize because honestly, this is something very serious. Tubadde tetumanye eyo emergency saving and for saving iba saving. Oba ya bizibu oba kola ki. Kindly look into that camera and emphasize to the viewers who are outside there. Oba nyonyole the difference between the two kinds of saving.
I would like to re-echo kanziddemu emphasizing kubanga ekintu kya saving kino wekiva mu mutima tulina okukitegeera nti kyaki. Tusavingira long term, all we are saving for emergencies. If we are saving for emergencies, tulina okukola ebintu bibiri. Tulina okusavinga sente ezo z'empita ezitakwatikako. I have an account etakwatikako, etakwata. I don't touch it.
Okibalanga etaliiwo.
Yeah. Ebiringa etaliiwo. Some people do for some of the people I've talked to bo bakola standing order. N'agamba nze omusaala gwange wegujja emitwalo 5 10 saagala ddirabako. And then they do the emergency savings somewhere. Okay? So saving eyo gy'otakwatako weeri ne emergency ey'ebigwa tebiraze. If you have a target of saving omutwalo gumu, okay, you separate your money and say akanaana akatakwatako akosekakwatako 2,000 ye emergency. You make an effort making sure nti ne emergency building. You don't just say kasali nateka 2,000 kati sigenda kusaayo. No. You make an effort because tomanya lunaku ki bona jetaaga. So it is very critical and very important that we balance both of them as we are saving.
Thank you so much, Sister Fatuma. You know, as many of us here are just, actually we are going to start from today, from the questions from the questions, yeah, and researches people have been making prior to this discussion or today's show. Baba Debo nabagala kumanya bachikole tutya, meaning that most of us are going to be beginners in this financial journey. So how could you advise someone to articulate this habit or this discipline, yeah, financial literacy, starting with hard day-to-day lives? Kuba tugende ku bintu bya monthly, naye olunaku ntandise ntya okuba nga nsavinga nga ntandika my financial literacy journey nga it's part of me.
Ekisooka bino byenjogedde olwaleero era bye tukyadiscussinga bye bisookerwako. I would encourage buli muntu buli wofuna opportunity okuyiga ku financial literacy, okuyiga ku sente, okuyiga ku ekintu kyonna.
In other words, first acquire knowledge.
It is important. Knowledge is continuous. It's not static.
All right.
So tova wano n'ogamba byonna bifunye kiwedde. Naye ne wano osobola okupikingako 1 or 2 things. Kyeweekwatako n'ogamba ntandise. So that is the one thing. The second thing is the need for us to set financial goals aligned to your values and your personal goals ng'omuntu. So watuva wano abagenda okutandika n'abatandika edda, you can go back and actually either no aligning no damu no reviewing to see bino bintwala gye njagala okulaga oba n'otandika okuwandiika. Abantu abamu bagamba bo tebaagala kuwandiika. I've met people who say nze okuwandiika kwantama. Kati we nabiwandiika ani anabitunuulira? There are people who cannot even write, who don't want to write. There are people who don't want to save. Bali willing naye bazijjayo.
Okay.
Get someone to assist you.
All right.
Not necessarily a coach. Naye omuntu gw'omanyi mu bakwano bo, omuntu gw'omanyi nti agenda kugamba why akasente kagenzeeyo. Someone holding you accountable.
Sister.
Kubanga sisters ebintu bino
Fatuma, there is something you've talked about. Otrustingeyo omuntu akugireyo sente zo. Otrustingeyo omuntu financial advisor, right? You get someone who can hold you accountable. Okay.
For example, Shamirah, if you came to me as my friend, you tell me and you tell me that nze ekituufu sente nzijjayo nenzirya. Yeah? Ngenda kubuuza ebibuuzo bila. What is your goal? Lwaki ozitereka in the first place? Oba ozijjayo n'ozirya, kiba kitegeeza tonnategeerana exactly where you are going as a person.
All right.
Okay? So ebintu bino olumu tubyogerako naye ng'ate abantu nga character y'omuntu nga tasobola kikola. I have a friend who buli walaba omuntu ali obubi ng'agamba Fati, I used to keep money for her. Then she would call, she was in the UK. Naye ng'akuba essimu n'agamba Fati waliwo eyangambye ku kyalo teyasomye bambi muwe ssente. And she's saying it in that nice way. It is a very good cause. And my question normally is, kino twakipulaninze? Because ne saddaka tugipulaninga bannange. Tetusobola keera buli kaseera ng'owaayo buwi. tetusobola kubeera buli kaseera ng'ogabugabye, but it is important. For me, I've mentioned that it is for me, it is a must. Kola sadaka. It is a must. It is a must.
But it has to be budgeted.
Oba nina emitwalo ebiri nga ngamba sadaka ku luno nsobola emeka? 10. Because that is what I want.
That's what you can afford.
Aligned to personal values ng'omuntu.
Okay.
Okay? Shamirah, nyayongereyo. As I proceed on financial freedom, this monster called investment, very many of us tuyina wetugwira. Omuntu akunganya sente ze mbadde njogerako eza long term. Nakunganya ready to start yabala business ye yeetaaga obukadde 5 kati buli ready. Now, there are mistakes that we make as we are going into investment. We need to appreciate investment chi jenjagala okukola. Your investment goal na yo eyina okubeera aligned with your personal goals.
Yeah.
And your life as a person. I'm going to give you an example. I did save some money. I used to look up to my mom many years ago. Nga mutunanga nange ngenda kubeera a business woman.
Like your mom.
Like my mom. And I always told myself, ngenda kubeera oba kaduuka oba kasa oba mu town awo nyina okubeerawo ne business. Not knowing nti nkola mu office. Sigenda kubeera na time ya business eyo. I did indeed go for it, but I had to close it. Because it was not really aligned to my life.
Yeah.
So many times when we are going into investment, we need to ask ourselves, we need to ask ourselves, investment chi eriyo. Emirundi egisinga abantu bagenda ne bayinvestinga lwakuba Shamirah ayina edduuka nange kankole edduuka. But is it aligned to your life? Lwakuba, there are people who come and tell you, nze naguddawo wali edduuka naye tewali baguzi naye nadde nyina okuggulawo edduuka. You've not even done research. So sente zifa, you will see there are people who will do business. Najiddamu, leero natunda hijabs, oluddako natunda ebitabo, oluddako nakale kangende ku nkuruma, and all those things that you can imagine. But when we are investing, we need to understand chichi chetwagala okukola. Chiri aligned in life yaffe. Do I have sufficient knowledge, research about it?
Right.
Because investment, bano abantu abagagga bonna, ebintu byawe babiwa time.
That's true.
So oba toyina time, osobola okulowooza kale kangende nkole. I like unit trust. I'll keep referring to it. It is easier for me. Yeah? Because mba manyi wenteekayo 10 lyange enkeera nja kubeera na 10 mu 1 shilling. I don't know.
So oteekayo sente zo.
Nteekayo emitwalo gyange 10 ne mmanya nti enkeera ngenda kubeera n'emitwalo 10 mu emu.
Unit trust, is it kind of insurance?
Now, unit trust is an investment stroke saving.
All right.
Just like we have treasury bonds, zezo where wetuwola ffe kati fe abantu netuwola government.
Okay.
Yeah? Netuwola government netusasula income nejja buli myezi 6.
Okay.
So abamu bayinza okugamba nze kanfixinga sente zange nja kufuna ka interest at the end. And so many other investments. Now it is important that you actually think through. Woba oyagala genda mu transport business. You want to invest into trucks. Olabe nti ebintu sente zijja. Ogitegeera.
All right. Sister Fatuma. Before we go for a short break, mbadde njagala with the coming of Islamic banking, yeah? Mbadde njagala otunnyonnyoleko the Islamic financial literacy aspect. Yeah? Kuba Islam banking is here, but many of us are confusing it with charity. So can you explain to the sisters, because Islam banking, yes, we are going to have halal loans, we are going to do halal transactions, but it comes with a lot of discipline. Can you kindly start from there after our break? Because I think it's very important, being that we are all Muslims here and it's something we've been looking forward to. It's now here. We need a lot of sensitization about it. So from our short break, I kindly request you start from that point. Welcome back straight. So from this very point, let's begin with our guest. When she's ngatubulira ku the coming of Islamic bank in Uganda, ne Islamic financial literacy in that line, in case there is any, by the way. Fatuma, is there Islamic financial literacy?
Of course.
Yeah.
The Quran is very clear on every aspect of life.
MashaAllah.
Before I go into the bit of Islamic banking, we are very, very glad that Islamic banking is here.
MashaAllah.
When I was in the bank, about 3 years ago, it is one of the things that we worked for very many years, and they kept on pushing us. It's not coming, it's coming, and the like. So we are happy that it is
Finally, it's here.
But before I go into that, I want to speak to the Islamic teachings on financial literacy.
Yeah.
There are so many aspects in Hadith and Quran that actually speak to...
Sisters, kindly pay attention. You really, really need this information. Can we pay attention to the guest? Please continue.
So there are aspects that are well spoken about, they are taught in the Quran. And one of the things that is very clear and aligned to the Islamic banking that is coming is the high interest. The Quran discourages riba. It is very clear. And why we pushed for Islamic banking, basically, then, when I was in the bank, it was because of very many Muslims who could not take loans because they are saying we cannot do riba. Islam still talks about abantu abeerumya, you know, omuntu akola nnyo netasobola na kwerabirira. It is a teaching. Islam also talks about overspending, okwonona.
Extravagance.
Yeah, there are people who are really, really extravagant. And all those concepts and many others really speak to financial literacy.
In Islam.
Now, back to Islamic banking. Islamic banking is not charity.
Sure.
I want to say it again.
Let's emphasize it.
Although the Quran discourages riba, although the teachings discourage high interest, the Islamic banking, the way it works is you go into the bank, n'oyogera ky'ogenda okukola, ne mutegeeragana ngenda kikola bwenti, nkikole bwenti, nkikole bwenti.
In other words, they need your work plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you share the profits. Now, when we share the profits, bank take what we would call a markup. Now, the difference between Islamic banking in ekiribo jamu bank nga bagamba ngenda kwa $5,000,000 ogenda kusasula interest ya 40%. Now, Islamic banking ojja n'ogamba ngenda kola kino. I am going to invest in trucks. Of late, I'm getting love for transport business. I don't know why. Not that I have transport
Maybe it's
business.
a calling.
And so the moment you come in and you talk about the trucks, of course, you're going to talk about, you've heard about Islamic insurance. So they will talk about how you're going to insure, how you're going to share all these costs with the bank. And then they will tell you, okola bino byonna byonna tugenda kola ka markup nga kati ni bwe kati.
What is a markup?
A markup is something that will take care of the expenses of the bank.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in other words, when it comes to Islamic banking, all they do, expenses they incur to manage your loan or your account.
Expenses they incur to manage your loan and the account. That means mulimu omukozi akuservinga ku counter, mulimu paperwork, mulimu printing and the like. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not charity.
So what is the financial discipline behind Islamic banking? I
have not got that question.
There's something earlier They shared. And you. I don't know if it would be rude to remind you. There's something you initially shared with me about Islamic banking. You talked about the discipline of overspending, then trustworthy. I think that is a very important aspect to emphasize. Some of us will go and under-declare profits and all that. Chigenda tuvira muchi.
Banange ebintu by'obusiraamu bya mazima. Just like we've talked about charity. It's not charity. Bw'ogenda mu banka nga mu butuufu ogendedde ku nsonga ya busiraamu. You have to say the truth. Because they will help you to achieve your goals. Ensonga lwaki abantu bagenda okwewola olumu kibeera kutandika business. Yeah. So bw'ogenda mu banka n'obagamba ngenda kukola trucks.
All right.
And I'm going to start a business, a transport business. They're actually going to follow through to make sure that you actually do that. Islamic banking is not totally different from the conventional banking. Kubanga wetukuwa sente nga tulabye project yo nga tukulinda osasule. Bw'otasasula nga tujja tukunookinga. The other conventional banking. The Islamic banking, the expectation is we move with you. It is expected to move with you. That's the difference, really.
Okay. From an expert.
Sorry, maybe to mention, just Shamirah, maybe just for information, many of the banks offer both. Yeah, they offer the conventional and the Islamic banking. So when you walk in as a Muslim who wants to do riba-free loan, you have to explain really in detail what you want to do, how you want to do it, where, when, and all those things so that the bank can move with you. Now, for conventional banking, it might be the same, but we determine the rate as we are giving you the loan, looking at different risk factors.
All right. Thank you so much, Sister Fatuma. From an expert's concept, what are those common mistakes z'olaba in your 10 years ze tubadde tukola as we strive for financial independence?
Kansooke ne kye tubadde twogerako. People go for high interest loans.
High interest loans.
Sigaana bantu kwewola kubanga this is part of life really. Naye nga tonneewola weebuuze, can I pay back this loan? Mulaba businesses mu Uganda ezigwa mwebuuza omugago oyo yabaaki ng'afunye looni teyagibala teyagitegeera. The interest eats up the money. I mean the business.
The investment.
So one of the mistakes that we make is we actually borrow at very high rates. Okay. 2, we take for granted this thing called emergency saving.
Okay.
Tubeera tukwata ku sente ze tulowooza ezigenda otutwala mu future. That is the other mistake. 3, and very common with ladies, yeah, it is the lifestyle inflation. Omuntu olumwongeza omusaala kyasooka okukola, I called it lifestyle inflation. Kyasooka okukola kuva mu nnyumba ey'asatu kangende mu yaakamu ekitundu. Now, it is very critical that we don't just move. Yeah, those mistakes are very common. Omuntu n'afuna sente n'agamba nalabye oli alina hijabu kanjigule nange. That bandwagon. That's another mistake that is made. The other one,
women or it's unisex.
Actually, it's very, very common with ladies.
All right.
We are bandwagoned too much. I one time I saw someone wearing purple specs.
Purple specs.
Purple. And I said, my God, for me, I always wore black specs. I said, I want those specs. Can someone afford to have 2 pairs? Because specs are a bit expensive. Now, I did not immediately go for the purple specs, but I will tell you, I actually saved for them for a year and I got them. So when you are bandwagoned, don't just follow. Go back and think about your goals and say, I want it, and you get it. Okay? Then the other mistake that is made.
So at that point, si kibi okwegomba, but you should plan for it.
Yes.
Yes, so the problem is when I just jump onto it, obuzibu bufa. Kwa okwegomba si kibi.
Si kibi okwegomba, ate wetuteegomba tetukulaakulana.
Exactly.
So kirungi nnyo okwegomba. Tweyigirako ng'abakyala tusobola n'okukoppa abaami bye bakola, because what men can do, we can do.
Okay.
Kirungi nnyo okwegomba, kirungi nnyo okukoppa. Naye tuyina okubeera deliberate, tuyina okuplaninga. Okay? So the other mistake, there are many, but the other one that we make is also in investments. I spoke to it earlier, where we don't even understand what we are investing in, but we just go and invest. And maybe lastly is the delay to take a decision. Tuyinza okuva wano omuntu n'agamba kirowoozaako omwezi nga guggwako. Anja kutereka omwezi ogw'ekumi-n'ebiri. You know, we need to take financial decisions. Naddala eza investment. Bw'oteeka ssente mu unit trust or mu treasury bonds, omanya nti nno ssente you have invested. The money you have invested today is better than the money that you invest tomorrow. So it is critical that we don't delay financial decisions, but of course with proper evaluation. And lastly, it is important to reward ourselves. Many times, abantu abasinga they hustle, save, bichi, neyelumya bichi, wewem. You know, when you achieve that goal, you say, mbadde njagala kutereka miliyoni mu myezi 6, miliyoni ngifunye. Wewemu, celebrate.
Okay.
Yita mu drive through gambe kale kanyweyo oba kasoda, like different from kasoda k'okukyalo. You know? Tuyigo okwe-celebratinga. Because this thing that we have, ngaffe kiba kintu kyo, tewali mulala akimanyi nnyo okujjako maybe someone who a coach or anyone. So you need to be able to celebrate yourself. Give yourself a hug. I do give myself hugs. I go to the mirror and I say, I have done it. I do this. So it's very, very important to celebrate ourselves, but also very important to keep reviewing what we have set. Thank you.
We keep reviewing our goals. Okay, as we wind up for the first session, from the recovery aspect here, we have very many sisters who actually had made it. They saved their money, they made their money, saved it, invested, and honestly, they were self-sustaining. But here comes the COVID-19 pandemic and the economic shock, all that took place, and they are struggling to get up. What advice would you give to such a sister? During that time, some people had loans, so loans are failing. The investments ended up being swallowed by the banks. So someone is really struggling to get up. She feels like she has exhausted all the steps of financial literacy, make money, save, but ne saving stage chamala ne loan tegwayo omwamagezi.
Okay, I think I spoke to it earlier. Okufailinga oba okugwa is part of life. Olumu tu planninga ne Allah nga ina kya plannings.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So COVID bwe yajja buli muntu tewali. Even us in business, in consultancy, I actually lost all the clients, all. Now, what matters is because a client ajakuga munange, you know, sasula loan bichikate msoke mulindeko, emisolo tunabira bencha, you know.
Okay.
Now, what matters is how fast do you stand up? Tosobola kungamba nti okoyo okusavinga. Tosobola kowa. Tosobola kowa kuinvestinga. But you need to take deliberate steps. For example, wabadde oyina loan mu banka. Ne weebuuza mbadde nsobola okusasula miliyoni 2. Naye kati sisobola. You go back to the bank. Go back to the bank, explain to them, let them restructure the loan. Because what was done then was abantu basooka ne babasonyiwa okumala emyezi 12. Okubasonyiwa sebazibasonyiwa,
They just put
they
it on
froze
hold. They held
the
status
repayment.
quo.
Okay? Now webakustoppinga tekitegeeza nti banka tekola magoba. Esigale interest yayo entonotono ejja, yeah? Era wotandika okusasula zijja oba olina ozisasula. But so meaning kubanga tokyalina capacity esasula $2,000,000, go back and tell them, can we restructure this loan? Nja kusobola kusasula $5,000. Now that's part of financial planning also. So COVID hitting buli muntu, but it is very critical. This journey of financial freedom, bw'otuuka nga okyakolera ssente oba tonnabeera financially free. Money is supposed to work for you.
What do you mean by
financial freedom? Is money working for you. So when you do all these investments, when you do the different investments, of course, as we're talking about investments, I don't know whether I talked about diversification. To take a majimu tomatoes in one basket. Oyinza wano muni trust ngenda gulayo kuteeka $10,000, treasury bills nteeka $5,000. Ekirungi nti ebintu byonna ssente ziri wansi. Tewali nti ogula treasury bond olina okubeera ne $1,000,000 nedda. It starts at 100,000. So when you put in different baskets, eventually income butandika okuja from different aspects. When you are hit here in the shop, I was hit in my shop very badly. Omwana yabba eyali akola n'ebisumuluzo n'abireka ewa neighbor. As in, so you imagine now, when you get to that, does that mean that ogenda mbuli mutandika okukaaba? Did it mean that because I had a shop, I was financially free? I was not yet there.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so it is important that we don't give up. These ups, these downs, these hard times are real. COVID was a very good test, but we don't give up.
Okay.
If you thought at that time that otuuse, Allah nakusaasira
okay.
Ng'otandika. We don't give up. For me, I normally tell my friends that for me, I'm a hustler.
Never give up.
I don't. There are decisions that we make as ladies that require, of course, evaluation. Tokeera n'ova ku mulimu nga tosobola kwesustaininga myezi 2. That's a wrong decision.
I think most decisions are emotional based.
Olumu tunyiiga netutambula butambuzi. But we need to be able to really assess
to reason.
And say, one of my mentors many years ago asked us when we were freshers in the job, before you leave a job, ask yourself if you can sustain yourself in the same way for 6 months. He believed then that 6 months is sufficient for you to maybe to palapalanya and add things together. Yeah? Naye ekibuuzo ekyo abantu abasinga anyiiga ne boosi we nadduka. Business eganye nze sikola buli kaseera nkola loosi n'obifiirwa. But you're forgetting that mulimu ne experience gy'oba oyize. Bibeerawo ebintu bingi by'oba oyize. So it is important that we evaluate before
and we also
take
our experiences as lessons.
Ate n'ekirala kikulu nnyo okumanya nti Allah yagera.
Mashallah.
Bw'okyeteekamu n'omanya nti Allah yakireese kino, alhamdulillah. Every hardship shall be followed by ease.
My sister.
Yeah. So
I come to Sister Fatuma Chinchoga nti Allah yagera. Mbadde nkusaba okyenfasize nze ngo otunulira our viewers in the camera. Because obuzibu okukkiriza oluusi obuzibu ebuva. You've been talking of crying and all that. I've been waiting for that. Can you kindly emphasize it to the viewers?
Thank you, Shamirah. Okay, like I was saying, many of us actually ennaku zino abantu abali ku social media tulaba nnyo Adduha, tulaba nnyo Alam Nashraka coming up many times. Now for me, those are my tithes. In fact, I say it in English. When I lost the biggest client, I went into the car and I said, "Aren't you feeding me as an orphan?" Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
So at Doha, of course, the
Mashallah,
questions,
ya
did I not find you an orphan and I fed you? Did I do this? And, you know, many times, like the COVID situation that you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah? Abantu abamu abamu betta, and all those things. Of course, these financial things also speak to the mental health that we talked about last time.
Exactly.
But it is very, very important that we appreciate into Allah fenaya tutonda. Ate buli omu
And there's a decree.
ayina gye yamuplaningira okugenda.
Sure.
So when you get into hard times, don't give up. Don't give up. I'll tell you, one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make was to let go of my staff COVID time. After losing the clients, I sat with them and I said, Banange, mbatunuulidde mu maaso, embeera nzibu, naye I have to let you go. And I will tell you, after we picked up, I picked one by one and they all came back. So we need to be patient. As this journey of financial freedom requires patience, this journey of being financially independent, it really, really requires a lot of patience. But very importantly, of course, tulina okusaba Allah akuyambe mu journey eyo. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sister Fatuma. Kantandikire wakomye. Every move we make in life, we should consult our Creator first for His guidance. N'okututera baraka mu byonna bye tukola. She has talked about okukiriza embeera. All we have to know that byonna ebizibu ebitugwako, we are not the first people to go through that. And Allah yatuwa that role model, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Kizibu nnyo okuba nga waliwo kye tufeesinga nga takifeesingangako. This is a man. This is I'm not ridiculing him. Naye ono omwami who was an orphan, financial status ye eri lacking. This is someone who was forced to guide the literate, who was forced to head the literate, yet yasoma. His background si mugagga. Naye he made it through. Why? Because yes, banga kwani ku Allah. Always he went there like, yeah, Allah, here I'm stuck on this and that. I need your guidance. She has talked about Surah Wadduha. Honestly, if you make that surah part of you, yes, ebzubija and they bend us, but they won't break us. Because tujja kuba tumanyi nti it was part of life. Tukimanyi nti buli kintu ekitugwako nga abasiraamu Allah yakitutegekera. But ekisinga okukola obuzibu kwe buva is the approach to get out of that test or that situation. Normally the approaches that tutwala obuzibu buva. If you have a problem, notandika, it's because of my co-wife, it's because of bandoga, it's because of that. Notakizantia Allah, I know this was decreed, this was part of my record for as long as I'm still living. Guide me on how I can go out of this situation. Always let's learn to Allah.